Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's windswept. Look at me. How are you? It's Thursday afternoon, and this is the second time I've done this today because things have been changing fairly quickly. I had information that churches could open on Monday, the 15th, and then today the government have let out instructions saying that churches can open from the 13th, which is Saturday this weekend. And we were planning to, I was planning to open up St Bartholomew's next Sunday, the 21st, but actually we'll now move it to this Sunday. So what I'm planning is on Sunday from between 1 and 2, and this will be on the sheets, and you'll get some information as well that is available, to be emailed to you. That the church will be open for just an hour, and that's an important small start to opening up. We have to maintain quite a degree of cleanliness and hygiene at this time, as you'd appreciate, and also church needs to be monitored, so I'll be here between 1 and 2 on Sunday. Now, there will be, I'm afraid, quite a lot of instructions about coming back into church, because it is quite heavily regulated about what we must do, and these are, as I say, are just the first small steps. There's no public worship, and that's not happening, no services, anything like that. It's purely to come in and spend a bit of quiet time in church, to come back somewhere where you pray. You pray at home. I mean, there's no difference, as we know. I've been church for ages, but there's a chance here to connect. So now, if you do want to come along, there's various things to say. Number one, really, if you are in a vulnerable category, in a at-risk category, if you're over 70 with underlying health conditions and deemed so, if you're over 80, you really should consider whether you come out. It is, I know many places the people are just throwing those rules away, but we have been very specifically told we must be very careful about that. And we're public buildings, and it's one of the first public buildings after schools to open. We're not outside, inside, and as such we have a lot of regulations we have to follow. So the first question is, is this necessary, and are you okay? All right. We still carry on at home. If you're watching this at home, of course you still are in touch, and we're part of the body of Christ in many ways. That's later. So that's number one. I'm sorry this is sounding quite severe, but I do have to say. Number two, now if you come here, one thing is closed, there are no toilets. I'll get this straight out here now, there are no toilets. All the toilet facilities are shut, you cannot use them. The hall is shut, that is locked, nobody can go in there, and the toilets in the church aren't available. So, can't hold it? Well, consider. There we go. That's that one. Now, if you do want to come down, as I say, if you wanted to, you'd have to maintain distance, social distance rules, which we're quite used to. That's the 2 metre rule, and hygiene and so forth. And there will be restrictions where you can go into church. I'll take you through now, and we'll go and have a look. Firstly, when you come in, well, here we go. We're on the sanitising row. The sanitising unit's right by the door here, so you might want to use that one. And to come through, you'll see that everywhere we're marked up. There's lots of directions marked up to where we are. So 2 metre rule, please. And when we come in, the first thing we have is there's a sanitising station here. There will be a much larger unit here, hopefully in the next, maybe my Sunday, if not then. More sanitisers here. Now you do need to use them. Now the advice is about about covering face masks and gloves. I would advise really wearing a face mask. It's a good idea, and it is probably now. It may be compulsory by Sunday. I don't know. But be prepared to. Number two, gloves. Woolen gloves and stuff like that is no good. It's no good because you can't clean them. You are better to cleanse yourself, to cleanse your hands, sanitise as you come in and you go out. Rubber gloves as well are only as good for when you're in here. If you do wear them in, dispose of them as soon as you leave. That's the way it has to be. Okay, so there's your first. So there's the first units there. There you go, smiling picture of me. That's just arrived in you today. That I'm going to the kitchen now. You will notice that if you look around you, things are looking a little bit sparse. Here's the the kids area, we've had to clear things right out. There's nothing around because we can't have anything that's available to be picked up and moved around. So everything has been cleared away, put away safely for the time being until it can be used again. And you'll notice in a minute lots of red tape. There's a simple rule which I'll tell you about in a minute. And then here's an example for you. Is the chapel over here. They're 2 metres apart. Gives you an idea of the space that we need to maintain. You may wish to use those on Sunday. You certainly can do, but the rest of the church is available as well. But there will be restrictions as to where you can go. As I said, there's a rule about the line. It's the simple one. Said, do not cross the red line and do not sit on the red line. Or sit across the red tape, don't sit on the red tape. If you follow those rules, hopefully no one will need to get. Sorry, the roof always. When it's quiet in here, the roof contracts and expands. It's a bit got used to that copper roof. Anyway, never mind. Back to where we are. So don't cross the red line and don't sit on the red line. If you notice on the bench here, there's a red line through in the middle there, but there are indeed some spaces on either end, and you're going to see that replicated as we head into the main part of the church here. So as we head in now, you'll see that the centre aisle is roped off. There it is, centre aisle's roped off. Please don't use the centre aisle. Please don't use it. This is to keep some distance from one another. So don't use the centre aisle. You'll notice on the ground here, there's some markings. Again, please don't cross the red line because that maintains distance in the church. But if you do come in, for example, you can either come up this side, you can go on the other side, come into church, and you will see as we head up that, I'll just go a bit further up so we get more space we can see. You'll notice that, for example, this pew here, just like the one at the back there, you can enter on the ground there, and the pew has got the red markings there. So 2 people can sit at one end and 2 at the other. That is 2 people from the same household. Sit next to your friends. You have to maintain distance here, I'm afraid, with that one. So if you're in the same household, you can take a space, sit in one of those spaces. And that will keep people 2 apart. You may notice that pew behind, can't use it. The red line is there all the way around and a red line on the floor. So if it's a red line, please don't sit on it. Hopefully this will keep us. This will allow us people to come in and keep a fairly good distance. As I say, whilst you're here, just come and take some private time with God at the moment. We'll hopefully get into a pattern of this, and when we come to worship later in the year, hopefully this will keep us moving. Now, as we move on further down the church, you'll see as we get to the head of the nave here, there's a barrier. There's a barrier and a red line on the floor. There we are. Now that, I'm afraid, is a do not cross. That is for everybody, from all of you. I'm afraid the only person allowed past there is myself. From Church Wardens Organist Choir, anybody, please don't go. If you think you need to go through there, don't. That end of the church is kept clean, and if it remains so, it means you don't have to keep having to swab the church down and hygiene and clean it between things. It's where I go. It maintains a safe operating space for me. And at the moment, there's no need there, and that will have to continue for some time. As you can see over there, the organ and piano over there. At the moment, there's no music in church, I'm afraid. Just had been a meeting with the bishops and archdeacons, and it is quiet. We have to maintain a quiet place in church at the moment, but there's no music. That obviously is much connected with worship, which may come later. So, frustrating really, but we do get fabulous music, and of course the Sunday mornings at the main service, which you receive courtesy of the Davies Tribe, brilliant stuff. So anyway, meanwhile here, quiet. So over there, it's the same on the other side. It is just there's barrier crossing in there and a line, so nothing beyond the front pew there. In the middle, you may just see, I'll just move up here, I'll just sneak through. You can see where on Sunday mornings. The equipment is set up, the cameras and the microphones, everything else is set up in the middle here, and where we broadcast the service from it on Sunday. Lovely now, isn't it? It's really grim earlier on. Got a bit of a, look at me, I look like I'm sunburned. There we are, aren't I? So, I digress. So as you'll see, exactly the same on the other side here. There is the barrier just there, and if you can just remain this side, that'll be very good. And the pews are marked up in a similar way all the way down the church there. So that's where we're at the moment. As I say, things are changing. It was I recorded all this. I did a tour of the church earlier. Sorry, I'm holding the light there. We did a tour of the church earlier on, and went back to load this all up so I could send it to you. And lo and behold, the rules have changed. Seems to be the way things are. But what can I say? It's happening all the time at the moment. So that's what happens. So please do follow the signs when you come in, and it'd be lovely to have the church open. All that seriousness aside, yes, it does feel like we are kind of having something back again, which we've missed, and there we are. Hopefully that doesn't look too different, really, does it? It's very clean, being through it all. But it's good to get back here and be able to come in. So do come in for now. And it's going to be odd. It's going to be very odd, as I say. If it's not right, if you really are not in the right place, I don't suggest you come here. That's me in a caring mood. I don't want to keep you out. I just do suggest. Again, if there's somebody who is shielding at home, or in a nursing home, or in a care home, or in residential facilities and that, be kind and do listen, and if they can't come here, be kind. All right? I think that's what I'll say there. I'm getting a bit emotional on that one. Services are not due in church for some considerable time. I do not know when. None of us know. There's very clear instructions on that from just been hearing from the archdeacons and the bishops. Weddings, well, we don't know. Baptisms, no. There may be the opportunity of funerals. We don't know about that. But no public worship. So Sundays and weekdays communion will continue as they are. They'll keep coming to you from here, which is lovely, and from a study. And tonight, of course, discovering the Gospels, where we have a good old route through the Gospel for Sunday, Corpus Christi. So that continue as normal. Did I say normal? As it has been. That's probably the better phrase to use. There we go. So there we are. So basically, take care of yourselves. And if you do want to come on Sunday, as I say, just come in quietly and take a place and spend a bit of time with God, and then make your way out quietly. Now that will continue, we hope, for some time. But see, we can't just leave the church open every day, because we have to have a period. The cleaning is required. Quite intensive cleaning is required, and having it open on the Sunday, the one time, means that we're able to clean up once you're all gone. There's a bit of cleaning to do. It allows us also to regulate. We don't know who's coming in and out. It is really, I'm sorry, it is really quite tough, and all the regulations we have to do. I've got to change everything now since this afternoon, all the signs, all the sheets, everything else. Got to do risk assessments and all those things now before Sunday morning, so that you can come in on Sunday afternoon. Anyway, that's what I do, so that's no problem. Okay, God bless you, look after yourselves, and tune in tonight for discovering the Gospels, and see you Sunday morning. Don't forget to come Sunday morning for church, and then at 1 o'clock, it's up to you. But that's here week in, week out. We pray from now on. So, but in the meantime, it is tough. Pray for those that cannot get out, and those that are struggling. Keep them in your prayers, and those who are worried and afraid at this time, of course. Okay, it's Father Richard. Catch you later. Bye.